Welcome to our deep dive into one of the most chilling topics in criminal psychology, serial killers. In this video, we'll explore the psychology behind these individuals, the science of their brain activity, the reasons they commit such heinous acts, and examine some of the most infamous serial killers in history. We'll also highlight groundbreaking research by renowned psychologists. Grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's uncover the dark truths behind serial killers. Let's define what a serial killer is. According to the FBI, a serial killer is someone who commits 3 or more murders over a period of time, with a cooling off period between the murders. This cooling off period is what sets them apart from spree killers or mass murderers. Serial killers often plan their crimes meticulously, selecting victims based on specific criteria, and the murders are usually executed in a ritualistic manner. Serial killers often share several disturbing psychological traits. First, lack of empathy. They find it difficult, if not impossible, to understand or care about the feelings of others. This is often a hallmark of psychopathy. Second, narcissism. Many serial killers exhibit a grandiose sense of self-importance and a need for admiration and validation. Third, manipulativeness. They are skilled at deceiving and controlling others using charm or intimidation. In many cases, serial killers exhibit troubling behaviors in their childhood, known collectively as the McDonald triad. These behaviors include animal cruelty, a fascination with harming animals, pyromania, a compulsive desire to start fires, anuresis, persistent bed, wetting past the typical age. Ted Bundy, one of the most notorious serial killers, displayed many of these traits. He was charming and manipulative, traits that allowed him to gain the trust of his victims before committing his horrific crimes. Advanced neuroimaging techniques, such as MRI and PET scans, have provided us with insights into the brains of serial killers. Several key findings stand out. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for impulse control and decision-making, often shows abnormalities in serial killers. This region is typically underactive, which may explain their lack of restraint and poor decision-making abilities. The amygdala, crucial for emotion regulation and fear processing, often exhibits abnormal activity. This might contribute to the heightened aggression and lack of empathy seen in serial killers. Dr. Adrian Raine, a pioneer in the field of neurocriminology, conducted comprehensive studies on the brains of violent criminals. His research found that individuals with lower activity in the prefrontal cortex were more likely to engage in violent behavior. Genetic factors. Research indicates that certain genetic predispositions can increase the likelihood of violent behavior. For example, abnormalities in the Mayo gene. Have been linked to aggression. Environmental factors. Adverse childhood experiences, such as physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, neglect, and exposure to violence, are common in the backgrounds of many serial killers. These traumatic experiences can lead to severe psychological issues and deviant behaviors. Edmund Kemper, known as the co-ed killer. Kemper had a tumultuous childhood marked by a highly dysfunctional relationship with his mother, who was abusive and emotionally neglectful. Aileen Wuornos. Wuornos' life was filled with severe abuse, neglect, and instability from a young age. Factors that likely contributed to her later violent behaviors. Dr. Robert Hare, a leading authority on psychopathy, proposed that psychopathy results from a combination of genetic factors and early environmental influences. His work emphasizes that while genetic predispositions are important, they interact with environmental factors to shape behavior. Understanding the psychological and environmental factors that contribute to the making of a serial killer can help in developing prevention and intervention strategies. Early identification of at-risk individuals and providing appropriate psychological support and intervention can potentially avert future tragedies. Understanding serial killers requires a multidisciplinary approach, combining psychology, neuroscience, and criminology. While we have made significant strides in unraveling the minds of these criminals, much remains to be discovered. Continued research and education are essential in our efforts to prevent these horrific crimes.